one of the principles that I'll use to progress exercise is like moving from more isolation to more integration, right? Like someone with a very low skill level, like we have to do, if we want to train a shoulder properly, we might not be able to do a dumbbell press. So maybe what we need to do is like work on the delts specifically, and like work on the lats, allowing them to get into more of an overhead position. Maybe we need to work on their triceps in isolation. And like someone with a higher skill level, maybe I can just do like an incline dumbbell press, and it works like all of these things at once simultaneously. It's like that could be a progression that could take someone fucking years to go through, is getting them to be able to overhead press in a way that they're getting an adaptable stimulus. So it's like, all right, I just set a framework of goals for the amount of time it takes to getting you to do a dumbbell press, so that we can make this whole process so much more efficient by just like doing a general shoulder warm up and then doing some dumbbell press. But that might be 6 different exercises for someone that doesn't have the coordination or the capacity to be able to do that. So it's like things like this will all play into exercise selection. Is it like knowing their appetite for frustration or skill learning or progression, and then also understanding like there's very concrete ways that we can progress this, and we can do this in like a very linear fashion if we understand how to isolate specific variables. And as we isolate those variables and they start to show a level of competency there, then we're going to continue to progress those in a more integrated way. So it's like challenging shoulder stability now with, we started with a skull crusher, or I'm sorry, we started with maybe a tricep push down, and then from there we move into the overhead position or some sort of overhead position like a skull crusher, where they now have to stabilize the shoulder complex to be able to train their tricep. And there's, all these things feed into one another, and there's a process that they can go through that, like, you as a trainer, it's up to you how much of your hand you want to show to them, right? And it's getting buy-in around that. It's like, all right, we need to focus at getting really good at this one thing right now. And you might not tell them what's next. They might not even think that there's anything past that. But then once they start to like master that, and they feel like, oh yeah, I've got this. And it's like, all right, I know you got that. Now let's try this thing. And it's like, it just blows their mind, because it's like, oh, I thought I knew how to use my shoulder, but now I realize I don't. And that things like that can keep them engaged for a longer period of time as well.
And that's where I think the scientific nihilist trainer really, honestly, they're just going to struggle for no reason. And it's like, because this scientific nihilism that's come out of research based masquerading as evidence based, for people who don't have enough client or professional experience to rest on anything else other than what's in PubMed, this is where it just makes your profession really unenjoyable. Like every time, and I don't engage anymore. Like I'm really, I gotta say, over the course of the last couple of years, even down to the like, I try to minimize. Like, look, there was a time where if you were doing dumb shit on the internet, I'm probably gonna say something. I may have done a video. I did a reaction video years ago to like, and I don't even want to bring it up because I don't want to perpetuate it. But I did that 10 years ago in my office in Mountain View. I was that guy. I was ready to go, dog. Like
Uh,
juice to the gills, angry as fuck, in enough debt to kill a small horse. And if you said something dumb, boy, was I coming for you. But who the fuck was I? Who the fucking, who the fuck am I now? I mean, no one then if I'm a no one now. But it's like my weaning off process was like, okay, I'm gonna go from talking shit and making videos to like texting this to my friends. Like I'm gonna text this video to all my friends and just talk shit behind your back. Because I don't want to deal with the comments. And now I really try to like not do that at all. Like if I see something dumb, and look, you're probably like, what are you talking about? You send me shit all the time. And that's because it's you. And you're the
yeah.
last person to know all of the dumb shit that I do in my life. Or you're the first person to know all the dumb shit I do. But I think it's like, whenever I see people who are heavily scientistic, and I'm using that word deliberately, I see people who this are darn, you're not gonna last.
Hmm.
They're not there anymore. Scientistic people who engage in arguments of rhetoric, who in arguments of logic, arguments of science, in an inexact scientific, the human science is an inexact science. It's like you will not find the fulfillment in this career and that's how I started winning arguments. Was like, I'll just be doing this for a job longer than you are. And that's
Right.
like, not that showing up is half the battle. I know a lot of people who show up and are retarded, but it's like, if you can show up and not be retarded, like you are three-quarters of the way there. But it's just like, do you want to enjoy your life and what you do when you go to work every day? Because trying to fight tooth, nail, and claw to explain why the that your client saw you do this last exercise with the client you just had before them, and it's now their last exercise on their program, and then you just being like, well, everyone's kind of the same, and the research shows this and this, and all of that other stuff doesn't really do anything, so we're just going to add more weight to the bar, and that's how you're going to get better. What kind of day of work is that? What do you like? It's like you're living Groundhog Day on the hour interval, just doing the same shit. It's like, no, like gamify it, if not for no one else other than yourself. It's like, Jesus Christ, I would be bored to fucking tears if I just the next person was up, ran the same program as the different person that was just there. It's like, one, you're gonna get made. Someone's gonna be like, wait a minute, hold on. I saw the fucking, we're doing this. Why is he doing the same thing as I'm doing? And it's like, that's obviously a faux pas. But I think at the end of the day, it's like your job is just more interesting. Your
Hmm.
job is just more interesting in like, in the saturation, the colors, the tones, the gradients in between, all of just the generic shit. It's like, I don't know, let's do this, let's do this, let's do this. It's like, let's try this. How did that feel? Oh, that's right. Like, I just couldn't imagine a job like go work at the fucking post office. If that's how you want to live your life and you want to be that like, no, this goes here, this goes here, this goes here. It's like, yeah, there's a machine where you can go be a cog and be that. But that's not what this profession is. And it is 100, it is so consistent, the correlation between the ultra scientific, the ultra research based, and people who hate their job. And now look, this is a sliding scale. The ultra retarded seem like they have a ton of fun and probably shouldn't. But there's a conscientious middle ground of like of science and philosophy where it's like, okay, you're gonna enjoy your job because you're doing good and doing well. And that comes from the nuance, the personalization, the little victories, like giving a shit about the answer to questions like this. Like, how do we program for, because this is the easiest question to answer for someone who doesn't like their job. Oh, it's super easy. Everyone needs to do this, and this. What?
Right.
Dude, you are so replaceable. It's crazy.
Yeah. And that's like, I've had people, actually, a lot more people recently ask me, like, how AI integrates into training. And I think there's a lot of answers to that. But, like, if you can make yourself irreplaceable by AI, that's your job security, right? Because I start off by saying, like, yes, here's a general framework for this, but you need to play the man. You need to be able to adjust real time when things don't go according to plan. And that is probably going to be the majority of the time if you're working with real people, right? If not, then like they could just go into ChatGPT and say, I need to do fitness. I don't have any goals. Tell me how to do it. And it'll tell them to walk 10,000 steps a day and do, cardio this many minutes a week and do leg exercises and like whatever. Like, yes, ChatGPT can tell you how to do that because there is an answer and it can be finite and it's probably not that different for most people. But the thing that does make a difference is when it doesn't go according to plan, how can you adjust? How can you interpret the information that they're giving you? And can you still give them that same experience of getting enjoyment? Like you have a client that comes in, you were going to do a shoulder day with them, and they slept on their shoulder wrong, and now their shoulder hurts. Like, all right, I think we can get you out of shoulder pain today. Let's scrap what we were going to do and let's try X, Y, and Z. That's the shit that's going to get you to be irreplaceable. That's how you can get AI to not take your job. Is that if you actually can understand there's another person on the other side of this and they don't give a shit what you had programmed for that day. They care that their shoulder hurts and they don't want it to hurt anymore. It's like, okay, if you can solve that problem, that's what matters the most. And like, yes, there are better and worse ways to go about this, but if you accomplish that task, then you're doing a good job.